Hello, and welcome to another episode of Intention Ascension. Today, we're going to be talking about the heart chakra. And when we go to open up our heart chakra, we need to be careful because we don't want to open up our heart to just anybody. We don't want to open up our energy to any person that comes along our path. And so the gift of discernment is very important when we're focusing on the heart chakra. So the heart chakra, heart is spelled by no mistake the exact same way Earth is spelled. And we have 40,000 neurons that are in our heart that connect to the electromagnetic field of the Earth. Our hearts have a vortex that is around them that help protect the heart. And it is also the heart that turns our blood into plasma. So there is the science that's already there that's wrapped around our heart that we can understand and how we connect to the earth. And that's why when opening the heart chakra, we find ourselves more connected with nature, with animals, with plants. I have been very much so into gardening and plants and being a part of the earth and not even realizing that when I was engaging in these activities, what I was really doing was opening up my heart chakra. So our heart chakra is associated with the color green. And it's important to note that the heart chakra, while it represents unconditional love, self-love, compassion, understanding, it does not mean that we are going to be that in all aspects of our day-to-day life, right? It doesn't mean that we become a doormat for every person's situation and scenario that we're in, because that is where we're actually looking at blockages, where we're looking at codependency, where we are giving more than we are receiving, where we don't feel like we are worthy. And that is the opposite of what's happening when our heart chakra is opening. So be aware that discernment with the heart chakra is extremely important because you never know who you're mixing energies with. So if you've gone through your bottom 3 chakras and you're now working on your heart, you're working with the color green, you're working with love, you're working with understanding, you're working with compassion. But you want to make sure that you have the discernment against the situations that are currently present in your life, because that other side and the enemy will always try to come through and throw something in our way to throw us off of our track to just, I don't know, prove that we are what we say we are. And that's another aspect of the heart chakra, is knowing that you are who you say you are, knowing that your intentions are pure, that your heart is pure. Being able to open up your heart chakra. The next one is your throat, which is only blocked by lies. And so we want to look at not escaping facts to help other people feel less of a blow, but learning out how to approach a situation in a way that you're comfortable so you can approach it with compassion and love and understanding. It doesn't mean that we just accept all the things that come our way and just say, well, I'm just a loving person. Well, I just have an open heart. Like, no, you're being ran over. And guess what? Narcissists attract this kind of person, because what happens in your field, if you are coming from this place of like compassion and understanding, but you're also an unhealed version of yourself and you haven't reviewed or become self-aware, and you haven't worked on traumas from your childhood or understanding why you do certain things. Like if you were raised with that saying, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. No, something does need to be said. Well, not always. Okay. So It's not always necessary. Be discerning of who you are explaining yourself to. But if you don't have anything nice to say, then don't say anything at all. That's not true, because you can be helping somebody if you choose that this person is worthy of your explanation, your time, your energy, your understanding, your side of how you are feeling or how you choose to express yourself. Then you can find a way to express yourself with compassion and love. Now, this could backfire. The person can feel rejected. They can feel upset that you've said your piece and it's not putting them into a good light. But when you have that understanding that your intentions are pure and your heart is pure and the space that you're coming from is only for them to have reflection on self in ways that maybe they haven't had, then you are able to say, I know that I came from a good place. I know that my intentions were from a place of compassion and love and unconditional love and understanding. Therefore, I am not responsible for their response or their reactions. And knowing that if you are going to explain yourself to somebody who's going to come back and criticize you, having the knowing and that self-worth that what you did was not from a vindictive or hurtful place, that will just float right off of you and it won't matter. But if you are coming from an unhealed place, this could go a lot of ways. It could look really ugly. So just be aware of where you are in that healed and unhealed version of yourself as you're working on aligning all of your chakras. So don't open your heart to everybody. That's a huge, huge aspect of this, because don't open your heart to everybody right away. Test out your discernment. Test out the red flags. Read people between the lines. Allow their actions to speak louder than their words. When you have that fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me, is very accurate in a lot of situations. So once somebody has shown you themselves, then you have the ability to kind of keep a distance from them and to observe their behavior. I would say that's probably the key word here, is observe and feel the energies of the people around you. Because when you are around let's say a narcissist, for example, when they magnetize to someone who does have an open heart, who is compassionate, if you are an unhealed version of yourself, you will magnetize right back to them. But if you are a healed or a healing version of yourself, I like to say healing, then you will be able to identify those red flags. Hey, you said this, but you did that. You accused me of doing something or saying something, but I tried to explain myself to you, and you'll have your guard up. And you don't need to waste your time. You don't need to waste your energy, because you will have that level of discernment that will say, hey, this isn't worth it for me. I'm not going down this path. You need to go and work on yourself. Like, you go do you over there and I will do me over here. And we don't need to be so close. And there will be no hard feelings when you're coming from a healed version of yourself. When you are able to see these energy vampires really coming into play, they are like parasites, people who are solely, I swear to God, some people are not even human on this planet, that I don't even know how to explain it. Like, they absolutely refuse to change. They absolutely refuse to become self-aware. They absolutely refuse to operate in different ways. And I don't know, I honestly don't know where they fall in what their purpose of their journey is, or why they are here, other than to just like throw us off our tracks and deter us from what we are, like a video game. It's just like trying to figure out who's real and who's not. And so There are those who refuse to change, refuse to become self-aware, refuse to make the adjustments necessary for that relationship to continue happening, that relationship, friendship, workspace, whatever situation that you are currently in. Like, they refuse to make the necessary changes. They don't even respect you. And you're over here like in this distorted energy of confusion, and all it's doing is holding you back. And all the signs are already there, the signs to run. Now is not the time to be around this person. And maybe if they choose to work on themselves, then they can come back into the picture later on, or you can be around these people again. But when people are solely focused on jealousy, or you get into a relationship and someone's way more worried about what you're doing than what they're doing, they've got all this time in the world to stalk you, investigate you, track you, figure out when you've been online, when you are online, why aren't you responding to me? They got way too much time on their hands. Their focus is in all the wrong places. And then they turn around and take it out on you, and then you just accept it because you're not a healed version of yourself. Well, it's time to step up. It's time to start looking at things differently and say, I am worthy, I am lovable, I am capable. And all of those, I'm not worthy, I'm unlovable, I am uncapables come from an unhealed version, because you are worthy, you are capable, you have the ability to step into your power. And I swear to God, you are going to shine so differently. You're going to walk differently. You're going to talk differently. You're going to glow up. And that's the bottom line of going and stepping into that healed version of yourself. You will present differently into the world, which also comes with affecting people who reside in greed and jealousy and hate and anger. You will just like pinpoint all of their negativity, and it will just amplify around you. And you can be like, blah, I don't care. Like, none of that matters to me. I'm going to continue stepping in the right direction and doing what's right for me. And you will be able to, within like a stoplight, figure out whether or not a person or a situation deserves your time and your energy. Before that light turns green, you're going to say yes or no. If you have to spend too long trying to figure out whether or not something is right for you, that's an indication right there. And if you are sitting in a headspace, obsessing over a situation, whether you should move forward with it or not move forward with it, that's an indication right there. We don't have time to waste. We need to be knocking things out of our paths and out of our way so we can move forward in life. And so when our heart chakras are open, we can deliver that unconditional love, that compassion with grace. And we have the ability to be honest with other people. So is by no mistake that the next chakra is the throat chakra, that is only blocked by lies, and lies to ourselves, lies to the outside. And sometimes what happens is when we're unhealed, our heart will tell us, well, we don't want this person to feel bad. I don't want to hurt their feelings. So I'm just going to tell them this. And trust me, I've been guilty of that. I'm like, let me just make up an entire story. I'm just going to tell them that I'm moving to Iceland and I got this great job opportunity and I have to go. And so I'm not going to have a phone when I get there because I don't know how that works. And so I'll be unreachable for the rest of my life, but I will be safe in Iceland. And I'm sorry, not sorry. This is just how it has to be. And some people will even uproot their entire lives and actually move places to get away from scenarios that could have been closed with a simple conversation. And so when we're looking at the different ways that our heart chakra can be open, we want to be aware of those energy vampires. And this is where hugs come in. When we're opening our heart chakra and we have all this energy and love and compassion, and we're like, I love you, and everything that you do is fine. And, you're always welcome to call me or text me, blah, blah, blah. Eventually you're going to hit a burnout. But when you hug someone who is one of those non-human energy vampire parasite people that are walking this planet, is they actually take from your heart chakra. So I had mentioned earlier that we have 40,000 neurons that are in our heart chakra, and it is the most powerful, and it stretches open and it goes across your whole chest, which, like a treasure chest. That is where our treasure lies. Our ability to move up into higher planes is in our heart chakra. And so when we go and we hug somebody just because we want to be compassionate and endearing, they then suck it out. They just come in and they just suck it out. And then it leaves you feeling drained. And so if you've spent a day going around and just like spreading love, oh my gosh, like if someone is on like Molly or ecstasy and they're just like running around these like crazy rave parties and they're just so full of love, and like I can't even like begin to imagine how many different energies are floating around at those raves, and you're just blown open and you're just like, love, like I love everybody, and you're just like hugging everybody. And like, not everybody that's in those situations is all peace, love, and happiness. Because even if they are presenting that at that moment that they're peace, love, and happiness, if they're not doing the work on themselves to become better people, then they are operating out of those lower vibrations, puppeteered very, very easily, maybe very codependent or even narcissist, and greed and jealousy and hate and anger. And then their energies have just now come into you, and because of being under the influence of drugs or alcohol can make a person like that. What also happens is that we blow holes in our auras when we're under the influence of other substances, making it even easier for these negative energies to come in. So how do we protect ourselves from the negative energies that are around us? Well, I will sit down and close my eyes and I'll imagine my aura, all, 90 plus feet that I try to obtain. And I'll imagine my aura and I will say, I protect my aura in the silver light 3 times. I protect my aura in the gold light 3 times. I protect my aura in the violet light 3 times. Only God is allowed herein 3 times. And then I will imagine a bulletproof glass just coming down like over me to protect myself from all of the negative energies that are around. And especially when we have worked on our lower 3 chakras, what is happening, and just like in an addiction, when you start to break away from allowing the negative energy and the distorted energies to easily puppeteer you, easily make you mad, easily make you frustrated, easily make you anxious, that gives them power. What you feed grows. And so the more aware of these energies you are, then the less that they have access to you. And so the harder they start trying to come in at any and every level. So having that protection, and it's just like addiction, because as you break away from the claws of addiction, then you go through this like roller coaster of like cravings and triggers, and things pop up out of nowhere. Like I remember one time pulling up to a meeting and there was like beer just like right there in my parking spot, unopened, like brand new, just like the whole parking lot was filled. This was the one spot that I was able to park in, and I pull in and boom, there that is. And I was like, oh my God, what do I do? I've heard stories of people who have just been walking along the streets, and currently fentanyl is the huge one that most people are dabbling in and addicted to right now. And, they'll just be walking along and they just find a bag, and it's like, what are the chances? I was one time right before my 1 year going into a gas station, and I don't know, I was probably just getting something to an energy drink or something. And the guy behind me, it was only like 11 or so, I don't even know what time. It was like earlier in the day. It was just like plastered. He'd been gambling probably all night into the morning. And he was just so excited that he had to pay it forward, and like followed me all the way out to my car, telling me that he just wanted to pay it forward by buying me beer. And I was so close to my 1 year. And I was like, where were you last year? And so the same exact thing happens when we start to align our chakras. We start to become aware. We start to heal ourselves. We don't allow people with negative energy in our space anymore. We have the ability to recognize the red flags that are right around us all the time that we used to make justifications and excuses for. Opening up your heart chakra and having unconditional love does not mean that you are now a doormat for whatever chaos comes your way. You don't want to be feeling drained. You don't want to do something out of the kindness of your heart and then end up finding out you've just attached yourself in some form or fashion to an energy vampire who is just like sucking you dry all the time and is constantly in need or in crisis or in chaos going on. And like, for whatever reason, you're the only person that they want to turn to because they know that they can count on you. No, you need to let them go. It's time for them to survive on their own. And even if this is your own children, your adult children who have been spending a majority of their 20s and 30s not doing anything because they know that they can then turn to you if something happens. I need money. I need this. I need help with rent. I need to pay this bill. I need you to buy me A, B, C, and D. I'm not living here anymore. I quit my job because I can just live with you. No, boundaries. We need boundaries. The heart chakra opening is not about a lack of boundaries. It is about self-awareness and having healthy boundaries. And boundaries change, as we evolve, as we mature, as we grow. We've got to cut that umbilical cord to the people who are so needy that are around us because they're draining us. And we can do that with healthy boundaries, with discernment. We can stop more chaos coming into our lives when we have discernment, when we are able to recognize that somebody around us has done nothing. Well, I mean, not nothing. I'm all like choking on that word right there, but maybe because, sometimes what it is that the benefit isn't worth the cost. And so in essence, they have done nothing for us. And maybe we haven't done anything for them either, but they're not doing anything for us. So why are we around in this scenario? Why are we exposing ourselves repeatedly to a relationship that's not nurturing us, that's not helping us, that is not providing a space for us to grow or push forward? We should always be seeking to be in or surrounded by people who are elevating us and pushing us up. And I'm not saying that doesn't mean we don't help others and elevate them too, but with boundaries, discernment, unconditional love. All right. I love you guys.